This week, Skill Yourself return with an impossible name. Spectre Fleet celebrate a birthday in Brave Space. One YOLO too many for an AT ship roam. A loggerhead is destroyed as a pilot wins Eve, and another AT ship is ganked for the same reason. Snuffed Out have fun with Jam. The Imperium advance into Tenerifis as another alliance switches sides. A Vanquisher pilot is a little too public with their move up, and the creator of the Nestor artwork is tracked down. Hello pod people, I'm Frost, and this is your weekly EVE Online update. Welcome back. So there was no episode last week due to FanFest, and as a consequence of that 2-week gap between shows, I've had to kind of cherry pick the news a little bit, simply because I've not been up to date on everything that's going on, A, due to FanFest, and B, because there was just too much stuff to cover in one episode. So anyway, let's start off with our usual thing, which is to announce the winners of the Scope Syndication skin. So these are my last two winners of the Kestrel skin. So we have Swagger Olakar and Jur Zibao. So congratulations to both my pilots for winning that skin. I have a new skin for this month. I will announce that a little bit later on in the show, and I have two to give away as usual. Right, so let's get on with the news. Let me jump up into my box. We have Dotland in front of us. Thank you, Ilari. So the first thing is obviously we've had the Siege Green update take place just recently, and as a consequence of that, what we're seeing now is a lot of the nullsec groups are kind of running around shooting all the medium structures. So if you're not up to date on that, there is now no separate armor and hull timer. They're kind of merged into one. So it only takes 2 timers to destroy an Astra House, an Athanor array Teru, basically the medium structures. I'm sure I missed one there. And also the hull hit points have been reduced, which also speeds up the process. Now, I know, for example, Fraternity spent like almost 12 hours on one day just destroying structures around Venal and around surrounding areas. So that's the first thing that's happened. Okay, so next bit of news is Skill Yourself. So Skill Yourself, if you're not familiar with these guys, kind of high skill point group, used to fly around all over the place, creating havoc all over New Eden, until they ended up at a point where they had a war with the drone lands and won. And they kind of settled themselves into let me see if my pen's working today, into Malpais, and I think out to Passage and Oasa and all kind of this area, along with Hard Knock citizens, etc. And eventually they decided they'd won Eve and just walked away. Now, as I understand, Skill Yourself are back, and this is the name of their alliance. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Here it is. And you can see it's literally just been created out of nowhere, but we're seeing familiar names like Capku, which would suggest that it is Skill Yourself coming back into the game and reforming. I've just got to pick a name to use to describe this new alliance. So it's either going to be the new Skill Yourself, or I'm thinking XQTs, so just take the first four letters there, the XQTY, so XQTs, or either that or just Keyboard Face Smash Alliance. So if you have any suggestions, I would be really interested to know, as I am sure that these pilots are going to be coming up in my news reports quite regularly from now on. And in fact, they are in actually a battle report that's coming up in a second. Right, so that's the first bit of news. Then we're going to go over to Pureblind, and we're going to talk about a couple of things that happened in Pureblind. The first one was in regards to Fraternity. So if you remember, Fraternity, particularly the Chinese time zone side of Fraternity, we're in 5ZXX-K, started hitting kind of the Athanors of Bandalogs, which is .ru, which is this group here. As you can see, they managed to take one of their iHubs, which is the one I'm going to circle in yellow right there. And then obviously, using the pink again, this is all NPC space, right there in the middle. So what we've got there, the situation we had there is that not only have basically the Chinese time zone now been getting help from the EU time zone as a slight crossover on some of the timers, but also it came to the attention of Stuffed Out, who baited a couple of Titans on one of the stations. And so the end result is that we had basically a dread bomb from Snuffed Out, so 188 billion lost there, with 2 avatars belonging both to Fuxi, which is the Chinese speaking corporation in Fraternity, and then obviously just a bunch of dreads being lost, and obviously Bandalogs jumped in on the action there as well, managed to get a few dreads in there and kill these Titans, as well as a Typhoon fleet, etc. So the main thing to note with this as well is I have a video, so it is right here. So as always with all the videos that I show on my show, I link them in the description below. I have to have the sound off, obviously due to copyright restrictions and stuff like that, but then do go and check them out in your own time. There's always some really good videos that I try and present. And as you can see here, what we have is a bunch of Legions just landing now. All the bubbles are going up and the Titans are in there somewhere. Yeah, there you go. You can just about see it. There goes one bouncing like mad just over there. And there's the other one right in front of us. There we go. So anyway, you can watch this video in your own time. If you want to see a couple of Titans get baited on a station, and this is the video for you. All right, so let's turn off my pen and move back to Pure Blind. So the other piece of news was Spectre Fleet had an anniversary. I think it was the 11-year anniversary of Ganked. So I'm not up to speed on Spectre Fleet. I did actually see Virion Stoneshard from a distance at FanFest. He had his name, really big letters on the back. It was really useful. Unfortunately, I just didn't get around to chatting to Virion, so hopefully next time. So anyway, it looks like there was an anniversary fleet. It involved Stormbringers. As always with Stormbringers, things get really, really bizarre because the battle report was all over the place. I've actually had to clean this up a little bit because basically it was Brave versus an NPSI fleet from Spectre Fleet, which included Thunderchilds and Stormbringers. And did we get any others? And Stormbringers. And then we obviously have a whole bunch of other stuff like some Moas and some Eagles. And the first thing you're going to see is the Stormbringers were very effective against the Feroxes that were basically deleted. Just how I feel about Feroxes. The Serbs actually held out a lot better. I think they managed to stay at range, but the Feroxes died a horrendous death. But anyway, it was a fun fleet to be had. There was a second fight that happened after this one, where the battle report shows a much higher loss on the side of Spectre Fleet, primarily because Virion, in birthday mode or anniversary mode, decided to fly a 17 billion ISK Thunderchild. And as you can see from this battle report, you got Thunderchilds on Stormbringers on different sides of the battle report. I mean, that's the thing with these ships. They got the Stormbringers are all on this side, so there was some AWOXing as well. AWOXing, sorry. And it looks like they managed to take an Orca on the way as well. But anyway, so there you go. So I think I've got the kill mail for that Thunderchild. It was very nicely fit, lots of abyssals. There was a couple of officer mods on there as well. A whole bunch of officer mods on the lows there for the power diags. So a very juicy ship there that Virion supplied for this anniversary. Okay, then we're going to go over to whoops, pressed blog, that was wrong. Universe. We're going to go over to Tribute. So in Tribute, what we had is in the system of UMI-KK, so Tribute being Fraternity and Winter Coalition territory. It was obviously Lord were there, but have now left. In fact, I think they've left in the last couple of days or so. And Destiny's Call as well, I think was the other alliance that was pushed out of Wintercoat. So I think both of those have left in the last few days as they had a 30-day cooldown period. Anyway, in UMI-KK, which I can never remember where it is. Here it is, it's right there. There we go. Basically, there's a Keepstar in there and basically a bunch of roaming gang in a bunch of AT ships decided to go out and get themselves a fight with Fraternity in this system. Unfortunately, they lost two of the Laylapses. There's one here and the other one there. And then Raiju and Laylaps survived. Talking of executees or keyboard face mash or skill yourself new name, Mark Bridges is actually one of those pilots there. So you can see they're already in the news. Now, as I understand, this AT ship Rome, they decided to go to the Sun to scan the ESS. Gnosis was the only thing to show up on D-scan, so they sent in a Stabber. I think it was a Stabber. It was a scout ship of some sort to the ESS to go and check it out. One of the Laylaps pilots, got bored waiting for the ship to land and decided to YOLO in. So the rest of the AT ships went with him, with them, and then they landed to 3 Hugens, a Lachesis, and some other stuff that didn't show up on D-scan. So they turned things pretty bad. That caused the first Laylaps to die. Then they decided to stick around, and by that point, a Jaguar fleet showed up. along with some Bouchers, which led to the second layer lapse being lost. So that was a pretty hefty BR there, but creds to bringing out a Rome in AT ship. So good creds on that one. So there you go. So that's the update on Tribute. Then another kind of, so a lot of special event stuff going on at the moment. Obviously, because of a lot of the FCs were at FanFest, all the strategic stuff kind of goes on hold. And so you end up with kind of these kind of unusual situations occurring. One of them was in Ethereum Reach, which is the home of Slice. Pandemic Horde have a staging system in there, sorry, Keepstar in there. It is also the staging system of Pandemic Legion. So Ethereum Reach being right here, just on the border with the Forge in LowSec. It connects to Parler. LXQ2-T is right there. What we had is we had a pilot who decided to leave Eve and undocked a ship we don't see very often at all. If I can find the right battle report, I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. And what we had is we had a loggerhead. So the loggerhead is the pirate faction of the Goristas. It is their force auxiliary. So there's only been 2 destroyed, so including this one. So this is only the second loggerhead to ever be destroyed. And it was destroyed as part of a parting thing from Nova Bomb. So there you go. So that was the announcement there. And obviously a few people got in on it and Snuffed Out showed up for the fight as well. And Pandemic Horde were there as well. As you can see, in a whole bunch of kind of pretty much a kitchen sink fleet for this one, actually, to be honest. Definitely a bit of a mix. Oh, there we go, some Feroxes. Oh, it said those ones lived. Wow, you know how I feel about that. Okay, so we're going to come back to Feroxes in a minute, and we're going to talk about Test Alliance Please Ignore. It's worth noting, I talked on my last show that Disorderly Vagrants had left to go to Severance, which is part of Fire Coalition. Since then, Fusion Enterprises, who are a big group, 529 tunes, has gone over to Pandemic Horde. And then NI Industries, even though it only shows 78 pilots here, has moved over to Warriors of Soul, which is also Fire Coalition. But a number of the pilots from NI Industries moved into Covert Agenda, so a new corporation was created. As you can see, 200 pilots there, 200 tunes, should I say, also got into Warriors of Soul. So unfortunately, the exodus from Test does seem to be continuing, that's all there is to say there, really. Okay, so then what else do we have? We have another AT ship that was destroyed. This one was a Raiju. It was destroyed by Frederick von Hole and I think Outlawed No Pro. There we go, so you can see them just there. So we had a smart bomb and then a whole bunch of other stuff. I assume they're all going to be smart bombs on the gate. And the reason why this Raiju was caught from Loput. Loput is also apparently quitting Eve and mentioned not only on his live stream but on Discord right here that he's going out in his AT ship and he's ready to be destroyed. And then we can actually catch his Twitch feed as well if you want to see that yourself. It's 56 minutes in. For some reason that's really blurry. I do apologize. That's just Twitch deciding to give me a oh, there we go. It's picked up a little bit now. So 56 minutes in, you can check that out. And I will link the Twitch stream below. Obviously with Twitch streams, it's only up there for a couple of weeks if they're not a partner. So just to be aware that you need to catch that soon if you want to watch that. All right, so that's that. So another AT ship down. So it's been quite a busy week for AT ships. Then we had, what else did we have? Then actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do the giveaway. So here we go. I have a new skin and it is the Ferox. Yeah, the Ferox is the skin. As everyone knows, I absolutely detest the Ferox. So I will be giving away all of the skins. So I may do like a mass giveaway later on in the month. I'll have to see. But anyway, we need a word for the giveaway. So the way that it works to enter the competition to win the skin, the 2 skins I'm going to give away, is you have to mention a keyword of my choosing in the comments below. And you have until 1800 UTC on Friday the 20th of May to make up that sentence. So I was thinking all kinds of keywords associated to the Ferox, but none of them are very polite. So I was instead thinking of all the random ways you could destroy a Ferox. So my keyword for this week is going to be random. So there you go. So good luck with that, and I will announce those on my show next week. And obviously don't forget to check your YouTube comments Saturday night or during Sunday. That's normally the time when I do the draw, is kind of late Saturday. Okay, right, so going on to other things. Now we're going to go over to Innsmother. Innsmother is the homeland of Legion of Death and the staging system of Fire Coalition. The staging system being JTAC-Z YSZ, or in English J-Z-YSZ. Snuffed Out decided to have a little bit of fun, and what they did is they took a whole bunch of falcons to the staging system and created some havoc. And as you can see, there's loads of falcons here on a rare kill now. They also have a video, you really need to listen to this video. Essentially, it's snuffed out for 1 minute and 48 seconds, saying the word jam a lot. So they basically jammed everything and then shot it, and they were doing this, like I said, in the home system of Fire Coalition. So go and check that one out as well. Linked in the description below. Jammed. Okay. Now, what else do we have? Okay, now we're going to go over and talk about all the stuff that's been going on in the south. So as you know, the Imperium have kind of been advancing into Fire Coalition territory. Fetherbolis got glassed. That is now all owned by a Red Menace Coalition. And then Omist has also been cleared out. And now we are seeing a move into Tenerifis. Now, before I mention anything else, I need to mention Mencia. If you remember, we had high-sec miners, and high-sec miners were in Fetherbolis, and we weren't sure what was going to happen to them. Then we saw all their SOV get reinforced. They have now moved into Amencia with Black Rose, apparently. So that's what's happened to high-sec miners. So they have moved in and are operating within the SOV, within Black Rose territory over here. Now, we will come back to Amencia a little bit later. I'm going to show you very quickly Lollipop Monopoly, who are right here as they come up in the news. And we're going to go into Tenerifis. So, Tenerifis, first up, I mentioned last time that basically Lollipop Monopoly had all of these systems. I said they'd been lost primarily because I thought they didn't have enough members to be able to do the SOV warfare. It turns out that Lollipop Monopoly have decided they don't want the pocket. So they are currently going back and moving into Amencia back into those two systems. And I assume they're using a lot of Celestial Empire systems as well. So both of those alliances are very, very close to each other. So that is apparently what happened with the Lollipop Monopoly SOVs. Now, the other thing that happened is that we had a group called Absolute Will, who kind of owned all of these systems down here. And as you can see, things are very different now because the Imperium owns pretty much all of those. And the reason why is because Absolute Will, who only joined Fire Coalition quite recently and are part of Absolute Order. Absolute Order is their high-sec group and Absolute Will is their kind of null-sec group. They have flipped, so they have switched over to the Imperium. Now, the interesting thing with this, so if you go back to our universe map, is that basically the Imperium said you can have Omist. And so we can see Absolute Will now are kind of moving in slowly but surely into this area. As it's been basically being cleared out by the Imperium. Now, the interesting thing with this, which I see seems to me very short-sighted, is that Omist is here. The Imperium essentially live in Fountain, Delve, Quirius, period basis, and that's the kind of the area. This is a long way from Omist. Now, the Imperium at the moment are advancing in here, but I can't see the actual main core of the Imperium taking any SOV in this part of the southeast of the map. And so I think Absolute Will are putting themselves in a very difficult position here because they're being given all of this SOV and they're going to be protected whilst the Imperium are active in Tenerifis, possibly Amencia, or even maybe push into Innsmother. But at some point they will pull back, and at that point Absolute Will be left defenseless, and I would imagine Fire Coalition will then clean them out for that betrayal. But we'll have to see how that all plays out. Now, the other thing that happened with Tenerifis, this is really important, is I talked about this being a flashpoint, that in GILGM was a Fortizar that belonged to the Imperium that was right on the gate, and then right on the gate on the other side, we had an XIX Fortizar, Legion of Death Fortizar, and we had a Pandemic Horde Fortizar. I say had, because these are now pretty much gone. The XIX, or Legion of Death Fortizar, was destroyed uncontested on both the Armor Timer and the Hull Timer. And as far as I could tell as well, the Pandemic Horde one is now in its Hull Timer. That is coming out literally a few hours after this show comes out. And I believe the Armor Timer was uncontested as well. So that's quite surprising. It seems like Fire Coalition is just maintaining its floodplains even into Tenerifis. You know, they stated that, you know, Fethobolis was floodplains. They weren't too concerned about it. Same with Omist. Tenerifis, on the other hand, is kind of home to XIX, and Flying Dangerous is still here as well. So this whole side, you know, is still there, and I'm going to imagine we're going to see the Imperium continue to advance. At the moment, their staging is in Fethobolis, in the system, which one is it? In 3L-Y9M, and when there was the Armor Timer of the Legion of Death Fortizar in T2-V8F, I think the main reason why Fire Coalition didn't engage was not only there were 1,300 pilots from the Imperium, but there was also like 50 Titans and about the same number of Supers, all sitting in 3L-Y9M. So they're basically outnumbered. So if they've now got to decide whether they call for help or whether they kind of try and pull in all of their Supers and try and take this to the next level on this, basically what is now an invasion into Fire territory. Okay, I think that's everything I've got to say for there. Then there was one big cap brawl. There was a few cap brawls during FanFest that I remember, but I don't even know if I've actually got it here. This is the one. So this happened in System JI-LGM, which is that one on the border with Tenerifis. Essentially, something really strange happened here. It was over Raituru, and basically the Baltec fleet, that's the, where are they? They're down here somewhere. The Balgorns and the Megathrons of the Imperium, Goonswarm specifically, normally with the Baltec fleets, landed on the Raituru about 10 seconds after it repaired. And then they were engaged, and then a big fight broke out from it, and it ended up in 313 billion of losses to the Imperium, which is quite substantial. And there is a fight of this as well, which is right here, the video, sorry. This one is done by Jinan Wu. I've done a few of his videos before. They are really worth watching, simply because they're really well shot. Normally there's not a lot of camera movement, and if we just zoom forwards, it's all shot in 4K as well, I believe, or it's in HD. Is it in 4K? Let's see if it's in 4K. No, it's in 2K. So either way, it still looks really good. The camera angles are really good. And for this one, it's worth listening to the audio because there's two FCs involved in this. It's from the Horde perspective. There's Securitas Protector, who's the FC for the subcaps, and then there's Johnny Trouser Snake for the capitals. And it's really worth listening to just for how well this was FC'd and how well the two FCs worked together on comms when doing this fight. And that is really worth listening to if you're interested in being an FC. This is a very, very good example of FCs kind of getting it spot on, from my opinion anyway, humble opinion, all that. All right, so once again, we're going to move on. We're going to go over to Derelict. There was a extra large maintenance array, which I need to mention in En's Mother, which I didn't mention earlier. Once again, it's an all or nothing with the extra large maintenance array. This time it was nothing, so there was a Nyx and a Hell in there, and they were destroyed as the pilot decided to have a bit of fun as well and have the Merlin of Doom. Clearly swapped out a ship at the last minute and jumped into a Merlin to put a Merlin on the kill mail, solo kill mail for this extra large maintenance array. So there you go. All right, so another interesting death. This was in Derelict in Losec. It was a Macarial, and this Macarial came in with a 21 billion ISK kill mail caught by Purple Helmeted Warriors. And the reason why, I don't have an explanation really. There was a Nyx BPO in the hangar. Now, whether this was actually trained up, or skilled up, trained up, I can't remember what it is, research, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for, clearly not an industry person. I don't know whether the next blueprint was researched, in which case it would have been worth way more than 20 billion. Lots of other BPOs in there as well. In a Macarial. It was in Faspera, so it must have come out of asset safety, I suppose, and tried to do a quick run from asset safety and failed, and therefore it just was destroyed. There you go, it's an unusual death there. Update as well quickly on the Erebus that I talked about 2 weeks ago from Snuffed Out. It turned out it was on a medium structure. It was using to bridge a fleet into Amazon. It looks like the pilot went AFK, then got bumped off tether, and then a Revelation tried to jump in to save it, but was too far off. And then on top of that, there was the Sino made a mistake as well, I think. And the end result was that the Titan was destroyed. So there you go. We had a really unusual super capital destruction as well, which happened, I think, 2 days before FanFest. And someone posted on Reddit, does anyone know if a Freeport Keep start exists anymore in LowSec? And basically the pilot said quite openly that they wanted to move their Vanquisher and put it into a keep start. And so conversations went up. Some of them saying it's not a very good idea. Maybe you should time zone tank it, and stuff like that. The pilot decided to go ahead anyway with this, and a few hours later, we had a 518 billion kill mail as the Vanquisher was destroyed by White Sky. So there you go. I mean, Vanquishers are removing any super capital. You know, I talk about it every week. You really want to keep this on the down low. You want to keep a low profile on this if you can. And going on Reddit and asking where you could put your Vanquisher is probably going to lead it to its destruction. All right, then there was a big fight in, well, not necessarily a big fight, there was an eviction in the wormhole of J152711, but it was notable because it came in at almost 100 billion, and it was half of that was down to materials in an Asbel. So there's an Asbel there for 51 billion. So Siege Green kicking out Shadow Flight from J152711. So there you go. So I just wanted to mention that for that reason. In terms of ratting kills, it's been super quiet. Only 4 raw calls last week compared to 8 when I last did my show. There were 5 supers as well. If we have a quick look at the supers, I think most of these, I think only one of those was ratting. All of the others got caught just flying around. So in fact, we could check. There was, here we go, this one in the Citadel was unfitted. Then the one from Brothers of Tangra, this one, oh no, this one was a ratting one, there we go. That was caught by Wrecking Crew and in Derelict, so that looked like it was being moved, I think, because that's a long way from home for Brothers of Tangra. What else we got? We got this one from Reloaded, and this one looks like a fighting fit. Yeah, it looks like a standard fit, and once again caught by Wrecking Crew, and probably traveling, I would say. Yeah, Tash Mercon in LowSec, and then finally we got this one caught by White Sky in Genesis, and this looks like a ratting fit. So there you go. So that's pretty much it from the terms of view of supers. Then I've got a few videos I just want to bring to your attention. So, you know, we talked about the kill earlier on, about the Raiju that was destroyed by Frederick von Hull, an Outlawed No Pro, and Kaiden Ornalard. Sorry, I need to cough, excuse me. There we go, I killed the audio for that one. Anyway, they've done a video of a whole bunch of AT ship kills that they have done in the past. So go check this out in your own time. And you can see lots of AT ships being destroyed. And this will be linked in the description below. And there you go, you can see all the video in your own time. Okay, then I found a really interesting video that popped out of kind of nowhere for me. This one is by, I need to give credit straight away here, by RevQ. So RevQ has done a 4-minute wormhole report. So they did one for March 2022. We now have one for April 2022. And it's just basically loads of graphs for 4 minutes of just some really interesting wormhole stats. So if you're interested in this, go and check it out. It gives you a good idea then of the main groups and who's active and who's not, and who's actually kind of doing how much damage and all that kind of stuff. So definitely worth a look if you're interested in kind of wormhole activity like me, because I'm not very up to speed on it. I will be checking this on a monthly basis, so be sure to subscribe to RevQ. And thank you, RevQ, for doing this and for getting us up to speed on what's going on in wormholes. All right, and then finally, I'm going to close the show off with some news on the background. So for those of you not familiar, I have this background on my Google Chrome, which is this gorgeous Nestor. and I couldn't remember where it came from. And one of the pilots on my Discord, that's Dark112, managed to track it down. It actually came from a Steam workshop by Jakeem up here. I will link this in the description below for you guys. And as you can see, we have an Astro, we have a Stratios, we have a Nestor, a Drake, a Typhoon, and a Dominex. There's also a League of Legends one there, and a Random, and an Astro Pulsar. So there you go. If you want these are, if I remember rightly, they're all 4K, absolutely gorgeous. So go and check those out. And so that's Jakeem on the Steam Workshop. Okay, so that's everything from me for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.